Ah, thank you
Uh,
so much for joining today, Kathy. I appreciate you.
well, thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'd be remiss if I didn't give you the proper introduction, right? So for people who may not be familiar, Kathy is not only an international bestseller, right? So she has a book entitled Unleash the Warrior Within. She's also the CEO and founder of VR Waffles, which is a virtual reality company, in addition to being the CEO and founder of Star Changers. Did I got that correct, Kathy?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yes, which is a personal development company as well. She is a mother. And I got to say, I had an opportunity to meet her at Rhythmia Life Advancement Center. Um, we actually had a ayahuasca ceremony for 4 nights. And I can tell you this, if you have done ayahuasca, you understand how one night it could be great. Another
Right.
night, you can go through some challenges. But through it all, I can say Kathy had always had a beautiful just presence about her, a loving presence where you never forget being in her company because you felt the love and just the natural beauty that she has. So appreciative of you being here, Kathy. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you
Absolutely.
so much. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah.
So talk about it. Unleash the Warrior Within, a book that you authored, fantastic book with a forward by Les Brown. Um, I love it because not
Thank
just,
you.
it talks about your personal journey, your spiritual journey, your healing, but it also gives practice. People
Yeah.
walk away with a spiritual practice. Talk about the process of writing this book.
So the reason I got into writing, I never honestly thought in a million years I'd ever write a book.
Mhm.
And so it's kind of funny that it actually came to fruition. And then on top of that, to have Les Brown write my forward, absolutely, that is a dream come true for me. And so what had happened is I took a class with Bob Proctor called Thinking into Results during the time of COVID.
Okay.
And that's how, like, there was a core group of us that were down at Rhythmia, and
Hmm.
that's how we had known each other, is through Bob Proctor's thinking
Ah, okay.
classes. And anyways, everybody was like, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write a book. And I was like, oh, I guess I better write a book.
Like me
and
too.
yeah. And, and so, apparently I've got the FOMO, fear of missing out.
Hmm.
And then I thought about it. Then I just left it. I was like, no, that's not what I'm going to do. And then it just kept coming back to me, and it kept coming back to me. And then I kept waking up at 3 a.m.
Mm.
And I was just like, and then I went to Rhythmia and I found out, like, why you wake up at 3 a.m.
Come on now.
And so I ended up writing the book. And I'm so grateful that I did. And it's an easy read, in which I like, but it was a healing process for me.
Mm.
And so, if anybody, like, people say journal all the time because it helps
Mhm.
you heal. Writing a book absolutely helped me heal a lot of the trauma that had happened in my life.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
that's how it came to come to fruition, is like, I guess it was the FOMO of myself. But at the same time, it was divine timing. It was the
Yeah,
time I needed to do it.
it's beautiful. I'm glad you did it because I could tell you just by reading it, it's helped me in my journey. Just I love the fact that you opened up your heart.
Yeah.
You opened up your heart, and in the beginning, you even talked about it. About the importance of you understood that there was pain in the past that you had to deal with, but it was also the discomfort of having to sit with it. To me, that speaks to the healing that you already were doing to kind of get to that point to even recognize it. Because some people are already just in a state of pain, but not even recognizing exactly the root of it. And so for you to do the work to get to that point, and then the next iteration would be, to share it. It speaks volumes to you and the journey that you've taken, but also to share it with folks. It's life changing. I appreciate it. I appreciate the candor and what you're doing with it. So thank you
Thank
for
you
that.
so much. Yeah, and honestly, it wasn't easy. It was totally, I mean, I'm pretty vulnerable in that book. And yeah, and so I was like, oh, my life is out in public forever. But you know what, though? I have been told by, gosh, so many people that I've changed their lives. And so for that alone, like Les would always say, your book isn't meant for you. It's meant for
Mm,
that one person that you're going to change their lives. And, and I've heard that. And so for me, that's been the most rewarding, the most important thing ever.
yeah. Yeah. No, listen, I'll be, if you need the one person, let me be the one to tell you that it's
Oh,
changed my life. Just the level of vulnerability. It's one thing to heal yourself. And it's another thing to, once again, to take those healings, the lesson that you learn, transmute it and share it with people. And so, reading the book and then you creating the space to not just read it, but then to have a practice and say, hey, you know what? Write these things down, or, whether it's journaling or starting a yoga practice or just taking time out in nature, it moves to that next level of transmuting something that was painful into something that's more that you can share with other people. So it's a fantastic read. You've mentioned Bob Proctor and Les Brown, and I guess being in that sense of community, having that space with other people to grow and to heal together. Talk about that, how it's influenced your healing journey.
oh my goodness. It's been life changing, like
Mm,
absolutely life changing. And then I don't know that you know this, or maybe you do, and I'm not aware. Napoleon, you know who Napoleon Hill is?
Think and
So
Grow
we
Rich.
just started, we're reigniting the Napoleon Hill Institute.
Oh wow,
It's
that's
like
beautiful.
6 weeks old, and they asked me to come over and be like a founding member and
Wow.
ambassador for them. So I'm super grateful because that's where Bob Proctor has learned his stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
he's like the grandfather of a not social, self improvement. And so yeah, so that's what I'm doing as well as the other stuff. I'm really really focused on this Napoleon Hill Institute, and
Yes,
this is where I'm going to invest my time and my energy. And so I'm
that's
super
awesome.
grateful for that. But yeah, so that's I, I apologize because I think I went off on a tangent. But so
Okay.
did I answer your question correctly?
No, you did. You did. I mean, you brought it back. So I think, and actually, so Bob Proctor, Les Brown, I believe, was it Mary Morrissey? Did they all like study
Mhm.
together? I believe at around the same time, or with,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
it's
Mary
amazing.
Morrissey. Yep.
Yeah,
And there was like Jack Canfield, Chicken Soup
yeah.
for the Soul.
Yes,
Yep.
yes. So I think it's that sense of, I love the saying, it's community that gives you immunity from lower vibrations. So so
I
you
love
surrounded
that.
yourself with a dynamic community, and it shows. It shows. That's beautiful. This
Yeah.
Napoleon Hill Institute now, is that going to be online or is that like a physical location?
Well, actually, it's both, but it's going
Okay.
to be more virtual. The people that are actually founding members can go visit the foundation. I don't know if
Mhm.
it's open to public. It's back in Virginia. I'm not sure
Okay.
where, because I think you live in South Carolina or North
No,
Carolina.
I'm outside of Philadelphia.
Oh,
Yeah,
why
yeah,
did
I'm
I
outside
think
of Philly.
that?
I don't
I don't
we
even know why I thought that.
I got family in South Carolina though.
Yeah.
Got a lot of family in South Carolina, so maybe you know the ancestors.
I have no
And the
idea.
extended family.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so anyways, there is a foundation that's back in Virginia.
Mhm.
And then but the coaching program it's online. Like we have a
Oh,
free seminar starting tomorrow for the next 3 days for that will go on for a couple of hours each day.
oh, that's excellent. That's excellent. I can take the information and I'll put it in the description of the video so the folks see it, can watch and join.
Yeah, for sure, for
That's
sure.
excellent.
So
That's excellent. One of the things that stuck out to me in the book was when you were talking about the different trials you went through. It seemed like for a period of maybe like from 2011 to maybe 2017, every 3 years you went through some type of major life change, whether it was, going through a divorce or you had, going with a cancer battle and things like that. How did you, I guess, what was it that kind of was the anchor for you to push through those moments or even let go in those moments and allow the grace to carry you through? Can you talk about it?
oh, that's interesting that you just talked about grace. I'm actually in another like book project,
Hmm.
and it's with Dolly. Do you remember Dolly, that
Yeah.
Kinderithia?
From
Yeah.
Rhythmia? Uh-huh.
Yeah. And it is actually like I am the goddess of grace.
Mm.
And so we're making a book plus oracle cards,
Oh,
and
nice.
it's a healing journey for me and for all the authors, and then oracle cards that go along with it. But yeah, I am the goddess of grace, and so I love to embody that. And honestly, when I was going through it, that was not me whatsoever. I
Mm-hmm.
was like going through all of this stuff, and I realized I had a lot of anger. And when you start researching stuff and the things that, because all of your sicknesses and stuff, I didn't know this at this time, but all of the sicknesses that we have as
Mm-hmm.
humans all stem from some kind of emotion that got stuck into your organs.
Correct.
And I, back then I was like, what? That was like woo woo to me.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, so I actually learned that I had a lot of anger like just stuck in my soul that I had to work out.
Mm-hmm.
And although it sounds weird to say this, I would say that the breast cancer was probably the best thing that actually happened to me,
Mm-hmm.
because I had to take time. I removed myself from my friends. I removed myself from I just went inside,
Mm-hmm.
and I was able to find me. Oh, see, I'm getting a little emotional about that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I was able to find me. And then once I started understanding exactly what was going on, and knowing who I am, and
Mm-hmm.
actually journaling, and then that's when I found yoga. And
Okay.
yoga actually like probably saved my life. It's just
Okay.
because it was a practice that I didn't know existed.
Mm-hmm.
And which is weird to say that now, but because I go so much, but back then I didn't know it existed at all. And it was just like yoga and the meditations and all that. It was saved my life. And I just, it brought me on a healing journey to where I am today.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm super grateful for that, because that means if I heal, the people around me heal.
Come on now. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. That's beautiful. To go back to something you said, that you had to give yourself the time to find you. So when you found yourself in that spot, what did you see? What did you discover?
When I found myself, I realized that I was hurting inside, and that
Mm,
I had put walls up to save like protect myself from all of the negativity and all of the pain that I had gone through all my life.
mm-hmm.
And it was, but at the same time, I didn't want to sit there and be a victim. That was the thing, is like I knew I was in pain, but I didn't want to be a victim. I'm like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
these things happen, but oh well, that's just part of life.
That's right. That's
And
right.
so that's what I found. I found a little girl that was super hurting inside, like heart shattered. That's what got me to rhythmia,
Mm,
actually. Is I met a shaman local in the States,
mm-hmm.
and we had done a Kambo ceremony, and he's like, your heart is broken and we're gonna heal it.
Mm,
And I was just like, oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. And so that's how that was my journey to self-healing and to and I 100% believe in plant medicine. And I do not believe I would be where I'm at today if it wasn't for
mm.
the healing modalities of plant medicine.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I completely agree as well. I mean, it was one thing, for me before going to Rhythmia, my life consisted of a lot of meditation, time out in nature, and even yoga. But I think that next level of healing was found in plant medicine, with ayahuasca in particular. Just going to the ceremony, and similar to your experience, it was giving myself that space and going back and doing that inner work for my inner child, right? Just remembering who, the original hurt that I was carrying around, and the blame stories that I was, because I never went back and checked in on myself. And I think you even talk about it in your book, where you have these different responsibilities and these titles and these roles, but all the while they're usurping who you truly are as a divine spiritual being. You're putting all those things in front of it. And for me, ayahuasca was enabled me to kind of remove all the titles and layers and get back to remembering, hey, you remember little Andre? Right? Still hurting, got some hurt here.
Yep.
He wants to be heard, right? He's screaming, he wants to be heard. And so I made a commitment, a vow to myself in ceremony, that I would always take little Andre and put him on my shoulders and I would let him, I'd carry him around, and I would always check in on him and let him know if there's anything that you needed, I already got you. And I would put you first and never forget about you. And for me, that was the beginning part of my healing journey, where I always remember to check in on myself and then heal that little boy inside of me, so that I'm no longer moving from a spectrum of hurt, but understanding that life is good and universe is friendly and God is friendly and
Yep.
everything's working for my good. So going back to the beginning was very critical in the journey. Very critical in the journey. I love it. I can't say enough about the experience with plant medicine and arrhythmia. It was a fantastic time, and I highly recommend folks to partake in plant medicine. You said something about Campbell though. What is that?
Oh, have you?
I never tried it.
Really?
No.
I will actually introduce you to my shaman. He lives close to you. Yeah, it's and combo. People call it either cambo or combo. It doesn't. Yeah, it's a frog medicine.
Oh, is that the one where you burn yourself when you put a little thing on there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about it. My friend Q did that. Okay.
Intense. It's intense, but it's a heart opener. It's a heart opener, and that's one of the things. We did a ceremony with Cambo, and then we did a Native American, because where I'm at, there's quite a few indigenous people where in Utah, and we did a sweat lodge.
Okay.
And yeah, so not the same day, just like a couple days later, but yeah, it was awesome. So we like 2 heart opening ceremonies that just like absolutely life changing.
Yeah. That's beautiful. What are you doing in sweat lodge? Is it just hot in there like a sauna? What goes on there?
It's hotter than a sauna.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Have you not ever? Well, so a sweat lodge. So think of a sauna.
Okay.
But it's all like it's a tent of some sort. However, they make the tent, and then the one that I had gone to is so they have a fire watcher, so that person prays and watches over the stones and the fire, because like all morning you're heating up the stones all morning long. And then for the one that I had gone to, we went up there, and then because tobacco is very sacred to indigenous people, we made tobacco prayer ties.
Okay.
So it was an offering to go into the sweat lodge.
Okay.
And I don't know all of the history of it, but that was what we had done. And then when you go into the sweat lodge, they request you not to go out, but unless you need to. But then there's different ceremonies for each direction, like north. And so as we're doing the different directions, like they brought like all the guys sit on one side, the females sit on one side. The females have to be dressed in skirts as respect or a dress. And then it is super hot in there, like it's hot. And they bring in, like all morning long, they have been making the stones hot. And so they take the stones like one at a time, and they put them in the little tent that we're in. So just think of how hot the stones are, and then all the people.
It gets real.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So it was pretty intense. But it was awesome. It was really cool.
Is it all day thing or just a couple hours?
It depends on the one that you go to. Like the one that we had gone to, we did lunch and then the sweat lodge. And if you ever come to Utah, I'll totally take you up there. And yeah, I'll take you up to the sweat lodge, because it's one of the things that's on my list to do this year. But yeah, so we had buffalo chili, and then we had for lunch. We did that after though, so we were pretty much gone for 5 hours.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah, I'm definitely interested in checking that out. Ayahuasca was the first plant medicine, and I did mushrooms too, but those were the only 2 really ceremonies. And it's funny because I grew up part of my time in Oklahoma, but I guess I was a kid, so I wasn't really too aware. My mom still lives there, and actually, coincidentally, my mom's name is Kathy as well. So
awesome.
And she spells it with a K too, so I love that.
See, there you go. That's the good way to spell it.
There we go. Absolutely. But yeah, no, I'll take you up on that. I'll make my way out to Utah and go to a sweat lodge. That sounds amazing. That sounds
Yeah.
amazing. I love it. Well, Kathy, listen, I like to keep these interviews, these conversations rather short and sweet. I appreciate you for your book and for your wisdom that you share, for your journey. You've been absolutely a blessing to me and a blessing, I'm sure, to everyone that you come in contact with. So thank you for your sacred
Thank
yes and
you.
all that you're doing. How can we get in contact with you though on the socials though? Talk about that.
Yeah, I am Coach Kathy White on all social media platforms. So it's KATHYWHITE.
Excellent, excellent. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate you, and we'll be keeping a lookout for the information about the Napoleon Hill Institute. You can put that on the video. I know it's free for the next 3 days, so
Yeah.
looking forward to taking advantage of that.
Awesome. Thanks, Andre.
Awesome. You're the best, Kathy. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Ashay.
So
Take care.